Hello, my name is Nicole Shea, and I am finishing my master's in nursing at Morningside College, and I'm going to talk to you today about my research project. The focus of my research project is improving the lives and well-being of caregivers of stroke survivors. I have spent the last 10 years of my professional life working with stroke survivors and their families, and it's a very important topic to me. There's approximately 7.2 million stroke survivors in the United States. That means that there's at least 7.2 million informal caregivers of stroke survivors. The stress placed on these informal caregivers and the changes in their lives is often overlooked by the general population and the healthcare industries. For my research project, I teamed with a stroke camp parent company. They sent an email with a link to all the caregivers that had attended their stroke camp in the last year. There were 40 respondents to that email. I had to exclude 3 because they did not attend a stroke camp, 4 because they were not an informal caregiver, and 1 because they were a stroke survivor and not an informal caregiver, for a total of 32 people in the sample. The makeup of the sample was 7 males and 25 females. There were 26 that attended stroke group and stroke camp, and 6 that attended camp alone. It was a well-educated group with 11 that attended a trade school or some college, and 21 had a bachelor or postmaster's degree. The survey that they responded to was the World Health Organization's Quality of Life Brief Survey. It is broken down into 4 subsets. There's a physical health that has 7 questions, a psychological health that has 6 questions, an environmental satisfaction that has 8 questions, and a social relationships that have 3 questions. The respondents were broken into 2 groups. Group A attended stroke camp and stroke group. Group B attended stroke camp alone. They were then compared in SPSS using box plots in each of the 4 domains: the psychological, the environmental, the physical, and the social relationships domains. The total of all the 26 questions was also compared amongst the 2 groups for a total overall well-being. The box plot showed that the physical, psychological, and social relationships, along with the total health, were all either the same or slightly higher in the group that attended stroke group and stroke camp versus the group that attended stroke camp alone. The environmental satisfaction appeared to be less in those that attended both versus those that just attended stroke camp. With that data, a Kendall's Tau B was ran to see if there was a significant correlation between attending stroke group and stroke camp and the 4 variables plus the total. There was not a significant correlation between the 2 groups and the domains and the total well-being. With that being said, a larger study is needed. With a study this small, it's hard to prove significance or not significance. When a larger study is done, it would be ideal to have 4 groups: one that attends neither stroke group or stroke camp, one that attends stroke group alone, one that attends stroke camp alone, and one that attends both stroke group and stroke camp, to get an idea of which interventions really do help the stroke caregivers the best. In the larger study, it would also be ideal to take into account the variables of how much disability the stroke survivor has and how much care they truly take, what the level of disability of the stroke survivor and the caregiver were before the stroke happened, and the length of time from when the stroke happened and the survey is taken, as all of those could be variables that affect the well-being of the stroke caregiver. I hope that this research project gives you time to think about how we can help stroke caregivers, and also it encourages people to do further researches into how to help stroke caregivers. At the end of the survey, there was a space for the respondents to give comments. Most of the comments revolved around thanking the researcher for taking time to look into what helps stroke caregivers. The comments also had suggestions for expanding to ask for motivation for caregiving, and also ideas on why stroke group helps, making it a safe place for them to be able to express their needs and concerns, that share camaraderie amongst other people that are going through the same things that that they are going through. Please let me know if you have any comments or questions. I find this to be a very important subject and hope that we truly can use this research to further research to help caregivers of stroke survivors.